Hi, welcome to the session. Today we're going to be looking at Hans Zimmer's score for Inception called Time and how to recreate that in Logic using standard instruments. Hans Zimmer's cue for Inception, Time, it's really simple. It's mostly just 4 chords with another variant and it's repeating throughout the entire song. His strength is more in creating the textures, the layers, the build-up into some kind of crescendo that really feels majestic, and then it goes down into something that's really nostalgic. So let's have a look. So this is the arrangement for Time, and I'm gonna play it. If you want to skip to where the making of starts, you can skip 4 minutes and 30 down the line. So basically you can see the whole track here, and you can see visually how the layers stack upon each other, and they come in and they start growing bigger and bigger right to this point over here. So this song is at 63 BPM, fairly slow tempo. And one thing to notice, I'm going to open up the automation, is that there are lots of automation going on because of the fact that it's a song that just keeps on building and building and building in intensity. So let's start with the basic stuff. We have a Steinway grand piano here under acoustic pianos, Steinway grand piano. And what I did for this, because I wanted something that was very mellow, was that I wanted to take away all the highs from the thing. So what I did was a roll off of the highs. You can see over here, here, and here. Just to really give it that mellow kind of sound, you know. And I added a space designer, and in this case I did not send it because I wanted to control it more. And this particular space designer is a large space Ancient Church Plus on 6.1 seconds, just to give it a big space. And of course the mix is to the max and dry is to 0 because I wanted it really wet. And if you take it out, the EQ and the space designer, here's how it sounds. It's very bright, very immediate. And then if we put the space designer in, it's got that sense of space, but with the EQ rolling off the highs, you get this really mellow sound. This sort of far away old piano sound, which is what I want for this. And it sounds really suitable for this. And if you notice, I'm going to highlight this and open up the MIDI. Have a look at what's going on here. And you'll see that it starts off really soft, and the pattern just repeats and repeats and repeats. And then it starts getting more intense. You can see that the MIDI velocities are higher here, and it introduces sort of the higher bits of it. And here as well, it starts getting even more intense. And right at the end, it sort of goes back to very quiet piano on only the high registers. So you can see the build up even in the piano section over here. And the thing about the piano is underneath the piano there is a bass staccato going on. It's not really a bass staccato, you wouldn't really hear it, but what happened is there's this pulsing sound, and I'm going to play it right now. So this pulsing sound, I created it using bass staccato because I wanted the high attack, and I EQ'd the hell out of it. I took up all the top end, I took out very much of the low end, and I just left this middle ground here somewhere between 100 and 200 hertz, and it's got this really muffled sound. And then, even then, the attack was still too much, so I had to dial down the attack just right here, and yeah, right until negative 100% with the enveloper, which you can find under dynamics. And yeah, and I added a space designer as well. Initially I sent it, but I didn't give that space that I wanted, so I really just plonked the space designer on. The same thing, Ancient Church Plus, 100% wet, 0% dry. And you can see how it adds up to everything. So it just gives that underlying rhythm between the piano, you know, it fills up the spaces a little bit with a bit of a pulsating kind of sound. Now, on to one of my favorites, just percussion. You can go to Textures, FX, Trailer FX2 to get these sounds. I sent it to a bus, which is the same ancient church. This time is at -7 dB, zero dry. And I sent it a hell of a lot at +6, just basically maximum. It's really quiet, but just got this little percussive sound to it. I took off all the high end, by the way, a lot of the high end. I just basically, yeah, took everything out. So it's all these trailer FX sounds, but they just sound really rumbly, and it just adds a little bit more of that beat at the beginning. And this one is an alchemy patch that is called Aurora over whatever it is. Anyway, it's basically this warm low patch. But I didn't play it like that. I played it even lower, just to give it that really low end bass that the opening needed. And the interesting thing about this Aurora patch is on the higher bits, if you hold down a key, you get a bit of that airy thing coming in, which is perfect for some of the parts that you can see here and here and here. Just some transition and texture. And if you put them together, that's how they sound. You can hear the pulsing of the basses and a bit of the boom. A little boom of the trailer FX. And this section here, I just held one of the higher notes, just a singular note here. And you can see that it gives that texture. It's the same track, I just cloned the track over. So let's hear how that sounds. Which I think gives a really nice feel. Compare to the original and you'll hear something similar. Now on to the next layer. This one really makes a lot of difference, and I need to open up the automation to show you what's been going on. It goes up and down in this saw pattern. So basically, it feels like the strings are breathing. These are the EXS strings that you can find under pop strings, EXS strings 1. It's got some nice air to it. Sent quite a generous bit to the reverb. And this gain is just to control the levels after I automated it. So there are two ways to do it. You can automate the gain, but I automate the levels and then I just put the gain to adjust the fine tuning of it. So here's how it sounds. And you can hear the breathing, right, in the strings going louder and then softer. And if you notice, it's very much like the piano. In fact, if you look at the name, Steinway, it's actually copied over from the piano track because it's playing the same notes. And you can see that the higher registers get activated over here. And you can see that this part here, the velocities get higher, not super high, just higher, and the registers goes up as well, another octave. Now you might be wondering why there's an empty track next to it. This is actually an aux track, because if you look at the strings, instead of sending it to the stereo output, I actually send it to bus 8. I just like to pick bus 8 for these kind of things. And from bus 8, I created a track where if you wanted to, you can click on it and we open up the automation. You'll see that what I'm doing is I'm automating the levels. You could automate the levels using gain, automating the gain as well. But I just sent it out to a bus, automated that, because if I wanted to send more strings to that track, I could as well. So that's something you can do. How to create an bus track, you can just search it up on YouTube to create a track within a range from the bus, and you get something like this. So this is the bus track. Now, this is Trailer FX, one of my favorites as well, Trailer FX1 from Textures FX, Trailer FX1. Lots of reverb, taking off some high end, not too much. This song is really mellow, so we take off a lot of high end, leave that to the strings. And there's a stereo delay as well. And why is that? Just listen to this. So you get that 1/16th note delay, and when you put it together, it sounds like that. So that's nice and deep. And as we go along, we add more strings even. I have no fear of layering strings upon strings to get the right sound, because we're not working with a real orchestra here. We're just trying to get the richness of an orchestra. So I use EXS strings too. And that one has got a bit more body. I sent the reverb out as well. For this song, you need to give pretty generous reverb. This gain track here is to work with the automation as well. Just -2. And yeah, here's how it compares to the EXS strings 1. So this is just more basic single note stuff, but listen to this section. So you can see that the automation is breathing very much like EXS strings 1 over here. And how it compares is that these guys are more on the low end and these guys are more on the high end. So let's play them together. And let's play when it starts getting high. So I like covering the low ends sometimes separately, because you can control it a bit more. And these guys have a different texture. There's more body to EXS strings too. So I think it's a good complement for each other. And I know you noticed that there's another EXS strings 1 over here. And that is because I wanted to play a single melody. And there's nothing except for reverb on this. And it's playing this melodic line like that. So there's all this overlapping stuff, but when you put them together, so it's got that viola line, you know, going with the strings, and I wanted it to stand out a bit more, so I gave it its own track. And also the French horns. Now, I'm a big fan of Logic's French horns sound pretty good. So under orchestral brass, French horns legato, just some reverb. Get some nice French horns. So just single lines, and this part here are more chordal stuff. More on the low end as well, and if you put them together, here's how they sound like. And if you notice that the automation on the horns is a bit more subtle, not as much as the rest of them. Now, at the end, it starts getting bigger and bigger, and this is the more towards like the big bits, the melodic bits. So this is a separate track from this one. You can see that the levels are different, and this one is playing the melodic line. So it's pretty straightforward. Tons and tons of reverb, and yeah. Onto the electric guitar. Now, we have a clean electric guitar 1, which is under guitars, electric guitars, clean electric guitar 1. And we put it through an amp, which is Crunch, Brawny Combo Crunch. And yep, the reverb is on at a 3/4 level, 3 o'clock. And the send on the aux 1 is pretty high as well. And this is how it sounds. Pretty straightforward, and right as it comes in, it's also paired with one of my favorites, European folk kit under World European folk kit. Tons of reverb, and the EQ is actually not doing anything. I turned it on, but I didn't really use it in the end, and here's how it sounds. Just low end stuff, together with an Age of Steam kit, which is actually under Alchemy. And what you might not know is that Alchemy has some pretty good drums, pretty good rhythms. This one's quite cool. So all the high-end bits. And yeah, you can find a ton of stuff under drums in Alchemy. Now, let's have a listen to this track. So it's kind of like the clappy snare bits that come in, and this is how they sound together. And with the strings, all these have their own automations as well. You can see that the age of Steam goes up and up and up because it just needed that bigness at the end. Even the European folk kit builds its way up here. And at this point, right when it starts getting really big, I put a low end bass as well because I felt like it needed that bigness of it, the big size, the feel, the low end feel. So orchestral strings as a bassist legato, and here's how it sounds. Just low end long lines, and in this case the reverb is the least of all of them because basses just don't need to be so reverby, just to support the structure. And there's trombones as well, and the trombones, they are staccato, so orchestral brass trombone staccato, no processing, just some reverb, and here's how it sounds. And just supporting everything. Give it about that, rhythm together with the Age of Steam. And at this section, I got a orchestral strings, full string staccato, and you can see that it's just basically octaves. Just to give it that bigness as well, supporting everything. So just put the second half together. And this is the point where the same European folk kit, I just cloned the track, is coming in with the big sounds. They're all repeating. This one is just a pure loop. And they just get bigger and bigger. Now, here's another one of those auroras. And just right before it ends, it just gives it that. And this is the drop, right? Everything sort of goes back to the original. And it starts becoming quiet again. And if you notice the automation on this is that the bassist staccato, which is this track over here, is still there, but it starts diminishing. So what you hear is this. And for EXS strings 2 as well, this track here, you'll see that there's just this little thing to sort of lead it out without sounding too abrupt. So things to bear in mind, of course, the final hits and stuff like that as well. And we added a tremolo strings. You can find it under orchestral strings, full strings tremolo. And it's also automated in the same way, up and down, just that breathing kind of feeling. With any of these kind of tracks, you know, with your automation, if you want, you can add a gain to a gain plugin, which is under utility gain, to increase or decrease the levels, because you can't muck around with it once you've automated the levels on the track. And it just gets quieter and quieter. So the grand piano, if you open it up, you'll see that, yeah, it just goes from small to even smaller, just less notes, back to the original notes. And something right at the end is that the Aurora has this automation that we sort of bring it in and quickly pull it down. So let's listen to how that sounds. I hope you learned something useful today. Sometimes it's not about the chords. You can repeat the same chords throughout the entire song and it still doesn't get boring because you put really interesting layers and build-ups and rises and falls together with it. So if you like the project, you can download it at the link below. And if you like the videos, please subscribe for more. See ya!